We're talking with Betty Hill, famous and first abductee. September 19th, 1961, Betty, while driving with her husband Barney, was heading south from Canada.
Right.
When very early in the morning, he saw a strange light behind the car. It was September 19th. But what time was that, Betty, that this light behind the car appeared?
Well, we would crossed over the border into New Hampshire, and I think we started to see this light following. Actually, in the very beginning, I noticed a bright light in the sky, and I thought I was discovering a new planet until it started to move. And this was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So we stopped the car and got out to see what this was. We thought it was a plane. So we stopped the car to get out to look at it. And that's when it changed direction and started coming in towards us. Now that was in about the Lancaster area.
So,
And then it followed us for about 30 miles. Paced our car.
and all the while, you and Barney were discussing it. What is this? What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, see, Barney did in World War II. He knew planes. And he's trying to identify this. And it's flying in a very erratic manner, which was very puzzling to us. But this is 61. We'd heard UFO. Well, actually, in those days, they called them flying saucers. We had no idea what a flying saucer looked like. But we had no fear, just curiosity. We were trying to identify this craft.
You go on in the road. You decide to pull over. Barney gets out of the car.
Actually, that was in the Indian Head area.
Okay. Am I preceding something here when you encountered alien entities, or was this after?
No, this is the next step.
Okay.
In the Indian Head area, I'm trying to attract the attention of this craft. I'm telling it, come on in. Hi. I got the window down. I'm yelling to it. Hi. Who are you? My cat fell off the stool. And at that point, it left the top of the mountain, came out over the highway, and stopped in midair directly in front of us, maybe about 50 feet in the sky. So Barney got out with the binoculars in an attempt to identify the craft. And when he looked up, he saw a circular window with a bright light behind it, and he saw these men standing behind the window looking down at him. And at that point, the craft began to descend, and he became frightened. Ran back to the car saying he thought they were trying to capture him. So we got in the car and we went speeding down the highway to avoid capture. And as we're driving along, there's beeping sounds. That sounds like something was hitting the trunk of the car, and the car vibrated. And then we drove along for about another 30 miles when Barney turned off onto a side road. And here were the group of men he'd seen on the craft standing in the middle of this road, blocking our way. And naturally, he had to stop the car. And they came up in two groups, took us out of the car, passed in the woods to where the craft was on the ground.
At that point, strange thoughts started going through your head, thoughts that weren't your own. Did you have some sort of telepathic communication with these entities, or?
All our communication was verbal.
Verbal?
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. They spoke English in a limited way.
Huh.
Like, a foreigner coming here and not too well acquainted with our language.
But in the same time using common colloquialisms of the day, like you'll be back in no time or something of that ilk.
Yeah, well, in the very first part, they had us under some kind of control. And I brought myself out of this, but Barney was only able to bring himself out, partly out of it. So that I was just as conscious as I am right now.
They walk you into the craft up a ramp. The landed craft. This is right off Route 3. Well, actually, you didn't know where you were at that point.
Yeah.
But
It was right off from Route 3.
So they walk you up this ramp. You're brought in, and what did they say they were going to do with you?
Well, when we got up to the door, I was not going to go in. So I socked him.
You punched the entity.
Yeah. In fact, I put up such a battle that my dress is badly torn. And he said, come on. All we want to do is some simple tests. And as soon as the tests are over, we'll take you back to your car and you'll be on your way.
Let's just go back to those type of entities. They were your classic alien, gray-shaped, cat-like. No, they weren't. Okay.
They're a form of human being.
They were a form of human being.
Right.
Did they have cat-like or Cheshire-like eyes?
They had larger eyes than ours, smaller nose, and smaller mouth. No protruding part of the ear and no hair. But they're people.
Nothing like these classic grays you see your Whitley Street.
I don't know. I've never seen those. I don't know what they're talking about.
Sure, okay. There was a leader.
Well, we gave them different names to identify him. Now, I don't know if he was the leader or the interpreter, but we called him the leader. And then there was the one who did the testing. We called him the examiner. There were 9 others who stayed out in the corridor, and we called them the crew members.
Okay. So you're on board. Do you remember what you saw when you entered the craft? Did something must have taken you aback, saying this is amazing, or what type of craft am I inside? Can you describe as to what you collectively remember?
Went in to a corridor, and then I was taken into a room, and I had to step up because the level of the floor was above the corridor, and it was an oval-shaped door like we would see on a ship.
Do you remember at that point, did they specify what their agenda at that point was? Were you going immediately in for the examination, or?
They had taken us strictly to actually, they wanted to find out how we were like them or different from them physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did you feel that you were chosen for this, or you happened to be in the wrong area at the wrong time, or the right area at the right time?
Well, now I figure it was the right time, in the right area. But I think I brought it on myself. I'm waving to him and yelling to him, and hey, who are you? And all.
You get into the examination room. You're separated from Barney.
Right. He's taken into the second room.
Your examination, and again, all this comes out in later dreams and hypnosis, but immediately do they remove your clothes and perform? What happens? You'll have to. I'm tainted by all the popular lore of abduction stories.
I don't know anything about those stories.
That's good. Well, you're better off.
But I was taken into this first room, and it was quite bare. There was a small table. There was a stool, and then the wall, there were doors in the wall that would slide back and forth. And they put me on a stool, checked my eyes, ears, nose, throat, my feet, my hands. And then he put me on a table and said they were going to check my nervous system. And they used some kind of equipment to do this. And then he tried to insert a needle-like instrument in my navel, which caused pain. So they stopped doing it. And then the examiner left and went into the room where Barney was.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe what was happening to Barney, what Barney recalled under hypnosis? What was going on at the same time in his examination room?
With Barney, most of the exam was the same as mine, except they were interested in his bone structure. I mean, they were feeling all up and down his spine, his arms and all, basically.
Did Barney recall any struggle akin to the struggle that you had, where you had a torn
because
thread?
They had him under this control. Okay. And he wasn't... was very upsetting to him because he couldn't move.
Mm-hmm. So they had implemented paralysis, some sort of temporary paralysis on Barney to subdue him, whereas to you they gave you a little more leeway as far as you weren't.
Well, I was smaller than Barney, so I didn't get such a big dose apparently.
So they saw him as more of a fear, perhaps.
Right, he was bigger than them, taller.
Your examination concludes. Then what happens?
Well, while the examiner is in doing Barney's exam, I started talking with the leader. And I said, I know you're not from this planet. Where are you from? And he showed me a star map. And he explained part of the map to me briefly. And then we just talked about food and different aspects of life here.
And What? Give me some.
Actually, what led to the food was the examiner came running back into the room where I was and started tugging at my teeth. And he wanted to know why Barney's teeth were removable and mine were not.
And the story is Barney had dentures.
Yeah, during World War II, Barney got too close to a hand grenade and knocked his teeth out.
And they were totally confused by
That
all
was
of
very
this.
puzzling to him. Yeah.
And humorous.
Yeah.
Any other instances that something that as a human you took so general as a characteristic that you never thought of it, that they got confused by, almost childlike, akin to the denture incident?
Yeah.
Was there anything else like that they seemed that, boy, you don't know that you can recall?
Well, they were sort of disappointed. I didn't know anything about the solar system.
Okay.
That I think they really expected me to be able to identify the map.
They were actually upset that you didn't recognize their
Right.
home. Let's go to that. Marjorie Fish,
Right.
months later, or years later, actually.
Years later.
Under hypnosis. Tries to induce you under hypnosis to redraw that
No,
straw.
no.
Okay,
No.
maybe you can go over that.
No. Dr. Simon at the time,
Benjamin
said-
Simon.
Dr. Benjamin Simon, said that during the week, if I wanted to, I would be able to remember the star map, and I would sketch it. But I was not to think about it. I was just to let my hands go ahead and draw it, which I did. And that was in 1965. That
4
was-
years after the incident.
Now, in 1969, Marjorie Fish came here and stayed a few days and asked me all kinds of questions, hours and hours, which she taped. And then used that to go back home and
Took
did
your
the
map,
research, did the research on it, and identified the areas.
the area of the star map, which she said was in the constellation that we know, Reticulus, in the star system was Zeta
Reticuli, yeah.
And from that point, do you remember them mentioning Zeta Reticuli, or is that a terminology that we as
That's
Earthlings
our
have given
name.
them? So,
I would have no idea
re-
what their name
Okay.
is for their home planet.
and do you remember what type of star system? Was it a white star? Was it a yellow star? A red giant? Do you recall what type of star or anything?
It's, I don't know, but I do know that our astronomers believe that the stars on my map were the ones most likely to have planets and have life, as we know it.
And so they may be younger stars, hotter stars.
Actually, we're believed to be 4.6 billion years old.
Or 20 billion. It seems that we
But
age a billion years every 5 years. So
But actually, Zeta Reticuli, we believe, this is a belief. We don't know for sure. But we believe it's about 11 billion years old. So they've been around a lot longer than we have.
twice as long, and then the chance to evolutionize
Yeah.
to project. So this puzzling incident, you're examined. You get a tour of the spaceship
No,
or the craft.
No.
Did they show you anything? It's just only on a need-to-know basis.
just the one room I was in.
The interaction with you and the question and answer session was more than Barney. They did not give Barney the opportunity to inquire.
No, there was no conversation with Barney. I enjoyed myself. I had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
He joked. We kidded.
Really?
Yeah. I invited him to come back. Like I said, please, please, please come back. Oh, I have so many friends who would love to meet you.
So this was not a traumatic experience at all.
No.
It was an enlightening experience.
Oh,
spiritually uplifting,
Right.
perhaps.
Right. It was. Nobody can tell me there's not life on other planets.